and welcome. It is my
Hi.
pleasure today to introduce to you Anju Saran, who is an artist from New Jersey. She has been drawn to art ever since she was a little child, growing up in the very artistic city of Lucknow. Later on, she went on to get her master's in fine arts and has been teaching art in New Jersey for over 16 years. Art is her passion, and she's proficient in various mediums such as oil, acrylic, watercolors, pastel, and charcoal. She's a very versatile artist and seasoned in floral, animal, and landscape paintings with experience in portraiture. Anju is an award winning artist and has quite a few commissioned work. Anju's paintings have appeared in numerous exhibitions, including one in the Museum of Arts in Florida, where she was honored with a very, very special award. Most interestingly, Anju is also specialized in producing cartoons and illustrations for children's books. That is really special, Anju. Welcome to Lokvani. Thank you for taking the time to come here.
Thank you. Yes.
And now you're also an Ekal IndiArt ambassador. Ekal Vidyalaya is an organization that brings education to 100,000 remote rural villages. And IndiArt is a competition that is to engage children and adults from in America, from the Americas, to submit their artwork and thus support digital education in the rural areas. Really a laudable cause. So thank you, Anjuji, for taking your time to be part of this. So let me begin from the beginning. You are a professional artist. You did your master's in fine arts. How did that come to be? How did your parents allow you to become a fine arts person instead of becoming an engineer or a doctor?
Well, in my childhood, maybe I was 4 or 5 years old. At that time, I used to draw everywhere. Whatever surface I would see, I would like to draw. So, any newspaper, any magazine, any paper or surface, or even on my homework notebook, I would draw. So then my mother noticed, and during my school time, she found a very good teacher, a oil portrait artist, and he taught me how oil painting works. So that was the time I was formally introduced with oil painting, and portrait was the first thing which I learned, and even now this is my favorite subject. And then during my school and college time, I experimented on other mediums as well, and tried on watercolor, acrylic, oil, and charcoal, pastels. So I did on my own, and then I completed my master's in fine arts, and then I also pursued my music career with the art. Yeah. So yeah, so I did Visharad in vocal music, and Prabhakar in classical guitar, Hawaiian guitar.
Oh,
So so
wow. So two
so
big art forms that you have.
yes, yes, and my the music was in my family too. My mother was a Kathak dancer. She did also Visharad and Kathak dance, and my two younger sisters, also into music. So
Wow.
this was in my family, but art nobody was there. So I was the only one who was so much passionate about continuing this career, and I'm very thankful to my parents and especially my mother,
Yeah.
who helped me a lot to
That's
continue this.
fantastic. It's so amazing. I've interviewed so many artists, and the mother is a big figure in every artist's life. So mothers watching this interview, be aware that if you are interested in the arts, your children would, and if you have a child who is talented, it might require your support to make this happen. So, Anjuji, very interesting to hear that you are talented in two different arts. Do they intersect? Do they inform each other? Do you find music is influencing your painting and your painting is influencing your music?
Yeah, music goes very well with art actually, because whenever I paint, I play music in the background, and that gives me a lot of good ideas. It relaxes my mind, and it soothes. So definitely they go together.
That's fantastic. So I guess the brain works all in sync, and maybe the flowing musicality, inspires the painting.
Yeah,
And that's
and I'm teaching art here, as I'm teaching art since 2004 in New Jersey, in different art schools. But then I opened my own art school, that's called Artistic Creations, from 2016. So it's still continuing. And recently, the in-person classes are closed, but I'm teaching virtually.
yeah. So I was going to say,
So
has the transition to going into virtual been good for you or difficult, or how does that happen?
actually, I'm liking it because I have students now, not only in this from this area. Now it is the entire U.S. Like there are the students from California who
Wow.
are also learning. Then I also teach music on Fridays, and Monday to Thursday I teach art classes, and then Fridays are for the music.
Wow, that's amazing to keep up two different
Yeah,
art forms as teachers. I'm a dance teacher, and I know that it's not trivial to keep up,
it is
teaching.
not easy. It takes a lot of time, and when you teach, you have to be prepared also for everything. A lot of knowledge, and you have to make yourself current all the time. So
Wow, wow. But you keep up the performance is more for your visual arts than it's for music, or you're a performer too?
yeah, more into arts,
Ah,
and then
yeah,
but both the things cannot, both cannot be like equally important. You have to pay attention on one side.
I understand.
So
And I'm
yes.
looking at that beautiful picture behind you, the lady and the mirror. So, do you want to talk about that? And I know
Yes.
portraits are important to you. What was the inspiration for that painting, and what draws you to portraits?
So I've been always inspired by the human faces, figures, and their expressions, moods, their clothing style, folds on whatever they are wearing, and the light and dark effect. So all these things always inspired me, and this is my current painting. It's still not finished. I got the inspiration from my niece's wedding when she was getting ready, and how the mirror reflected her dressing style. So I got the idea, but this is not her portrait. This is the face is different. I get the idea from anywhere. Like I have different series of where I'm working. Portrait is one of my favorite, and then women. I always wanted to work on women, and I wanted to do as much as I can. Like I have so much in my mind to do,
I
but
know.
time to won't allow me. So, and then the animals, and especially the horses and the peacocks, which
Wow.
you know,
So it
uh,
looks like you have left only the men out. You've kept the women, you've kept the animals. Maybe the men deserve your attention too.
well, men are always there. This is the one, and you see the president's portrait
Oh,
also.
wow, wow. Fantastic. So there you go, there you go. But when you're saying women, you mean that you might have a theme around women, and then in
Yeah,
that
so
case,
their movement, their style, their beauty, so
sure,
and their strength.
sure.
Not only that, so
Beautiful.
what they can do and what my mom has done for me, and every woman has a lot of strength for their children, for their family, and a lot of inspirations to others.
Sure, sure. Makes great sense. I think that's beautiful, and I look forward to all the things that you still have to create. But what fascinated me, I have never met a real life cartoonist or a real life illustrator. All of us grew up as big fans of R.K. Lakshman, but I would love to know what it takes to make a cartoon. I think every child looks to cartoons. That's probably their first introduction to art. So could you tell us a little bit about what it takes to illustrate a book or to draw a cartoon?
So a good cartoon should tell the story in one illustration, and maybe a word or maybe a sentence in it. And you need to think a lot. You need to prepare the storyline, or and long rounds of illustrations, rough sketches before you actually make the final cartoon illustration. When I was in Lucknow in India, um, I as I told you that I always wanted to draw, and then I approached the Times of India, and they liked my sketching and ideas, so they gave me the option for the weekly newspaper, which used to come in the, I think, on Saturdays or Sundays sometime, and they always had one topic to cover, and the idea was that either it is, and mostly cartoons and illustrations, so, and this is all black and white, no colors. I used to use like pen and brush and like black ink for that, and I was very fascinated with RK Lakshman at that time. When it this type of work came to me, and then I thought, let me just work like the way he works, and I started with that, and then later it changed. I created my own style in there, but initially he was the one who inspired me. So it is because the theme used to come from Times of India. They used to have every time a different theme, a different topic, and the whole idea was that when you have the theme, the cartoon or the illustration attracts so much that people are bound to see that article and read that. So that was the whole idea. It was a lot of work and a lot of assessment of what you should be drawing to make that attractive. So you have to cover all the different aspects to draw and bring it into that one piece of art.
So it's a very small, minimalistic
Yes.
depiction of something that's so profound, something that's so difficult, and yet your strokes are minimal and everything is small, but you have to understand the emotions and yet portray the idea very strongly. Sounds like a very difficult thing to do. So I think that's just
And
great.
then, in US also there's Express newspaper. I created some time, like for several months. I created the series of a character called Srini, and I created the cartoons and illustrations for this character.
Wow, that's just fantastic to see a creator of a character, So I think
Yeah.
that's just spectacular, spectacular. Now you've been giving your time to indie art. So what do you think is the value of competitions? And also, I think you're going to do an exhibition as well. So tell me a little bit about that.
So the time I'm giving to India Art is, I'm really honored and happy that my little effort can give something to Ekal Vidyalaya, and this is for the good cause, and I'm really happy that I can be a little bit of help, and if I can provide the workshop and people can sign in, every penny counts,
Right.
so somebody can get the education because of this.
Wonderful. So in the India, maybe in the workshop you'll consider doing a cartoon. I would love to learn how to draw a cartoon. That will be so fun. Or illustrate, things. So I'd love you to think about what that might be that you might offer in the workshop. But do you see a value? You're a great teacher. Do you see a value for competitions for your students?
Yes, I do see the value, and whenever I find, and I this time also for the Ekal Vidyalaya, when I got the information, I forwarded this to my students, and some of them have applied
Yeah.
also, and I think this is a good thing because they get the other side of the art also, like when they have challenge, and when they win, it is a good boost for them.
Good boost.
So
Yeah, yeah.
and I've been judge also in local community. They are inviting me time to time for different
So
competitions.
So tell me, what do
This
you
is
look for how does a person win then? What do you look for in a piece of art? What makes for a winning art piece?
so in an art competition, as a judge, I look for basically I look for, first of all the arts which are displayed, and then um, we means me and other judges also, we categorize the art into different fields like theme, color scheme, balance, the proportion, composition, and accordingly we grade them, and then we see like who is the first place holder, the second and the third. Definitely, sometimes it is abstract art, so I cannot say like always proportions work, but then color combination and the balance of the of any art, it's modern art or anything, it has no shape, nothing, but then there should be some balance. So how it goes, how it attracts, it is mostly to encourage the children uh, to
Yes.
to
Yeah.
appear in art competitions, and this is a really good way of learning how they are, what their level is, and what they should be improving.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I don't know, are you up to it? Could you sing us a little tune so that I can end the interview on a musical note? Is that something you can do for me?
My throat is irritated actually because of the allergies, but I'll try. आज जाने की जिद ना करो, आज जाने की जिद ना करो, यूं ही पहलू में बैठे रहो, यूं ही पहलू में बैठे रहो, आज जाने की जिद ना करो, हाय मर जाएंगे हम तो लुट जाएंगे, ऐसी बातें किया ना करो, आज जाने की जिद ना करो. I think today is not a good day.
Really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. Any suggestions for artists as they paint? Anything that you think that they should think about?
For artists, I would say that the drawing is the fundamental. So they should, first thing is they should work on their drawing skills. They should work really hard on their drawing skills, because drawing is the base and it's the fundamental thing. And once they are good in drawing, and other mediums are really easy for them. So to make the drawing skills better, they need to be regular, persistent, and keep drawing on everyday basis. The second thing is the medium. So whatever medium they want to learn, they need to pick one medium at a time. They should learn drawing, charcoal, whatever, uh, watercolor, acrylic, oil, mixed media, any medium they want to learn, but like one at a time, so that they can grasp better. The next thing is the subject, what subject they are working on. So initially they need to work on different subjects like landscape, figurative, portraits, floral, seascapes, but they need to make a bunch of paintings on that to find out what they like. And once they like it, they can continue to a particular subject or more than one subject. And then later when they become good artists, then they can choose the subject they want to work on. But what they need to be regular on, that they should be persistent, they should be dedicated, they are practicing on everyday basis, and this is the key, that practice, 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 and that makes them perfect. My art is virtually, we are doing like one project at a time and everybody is doing the same thing. But when we were doing in-person classes, then it was not one project, everybody was doing different artwork, and they ask help, and they get the guidance accordingly. And the idea is that if you're doing watercolor or acrylic, you're not restricted to watercolor, and you can use other mediums as well with the medium you are doing it. So for example, watercolor can go with the pastel colors,
Wow.
watercolor background with pastel on top. And then the oil goes very well with the acrylic. Like you, it is time saving when you do acrylic backgrounds and prepare the block in colors and all with acrylic and do the oil on top of it. It saves a lot of time because acrylic is fast drying and oil is slow drying, and oil is oil medium, acrylic is water based. So oil can go on water, but acrylic cannot go on oil.
That's fantastic. I think that's the note for life itself, right? Hard work and dedication, mixed modes, open minds. I think that's a beautiful thing
This
for
is
art or life.
this
Yeah,
is for everything, whether it is music or art.
sure.
Your dedication, your practice.
Spoken like a true teacher, a dedicated teacher. Thank you so much, Anjuji, for your time. And we really look forward to your workshop when it
My
happens.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
Namaste.
you so much.